Um, Hello, Fightful Faithful. Welcome to another episode of the NXT post show deal thing that we do on Tuesdays and have been now for the last 4 years.
Welcome to the Sour Grabs Post Show. It is March 18th. If you missed us behind the paywall, you missed the St. Patrick's Day gear already, unfortunately. But
Yep.
we have a lot to talk about. Only super chats tonight because I have seemingly lost access to the Humpies. But we are going to take all your super chats. Please leave a thumbs up on this video. Please subscribe to FightfulSelect.com because, oh boy, accurate reporting is not always a one-to-one mirror of what gets put out on social media. I don't know if you guys figured that one out yet, but it seems like some people like to twist the words and perhaps remove context of certain things. So make sure you're getting the accurate information. Pay the $6 a month. Subscribe to FightfulSelect.com. Best $6 in the biz. You also get so much other than scoops. You get Sean doing his backstage report / Q&A show. You get a Discord that has an Ask SRS channel because that guy is a masochist. And you get me and Alex being extremely silly. If you think this is silly, oh boy, join us.
I don't know what you're talking about. We have made our brand around no-nonsense wrestling analysis.
No nonsense. I can't even say it. I can't even say it without laughing because we are so much nonsense. We're like 60-40 nonsense to non-nonsense. But Alex, last week was probably the best episode in modern post 2.0 NXT TV history.
Yeah.
And today, not as much. And I went to make myself some tea for the show because my throat hurts. And I have the Cincinnati Reds. This isn't even a shot at Sean. But I have the Cincinnati Reds mugs because I found on Facebook Marketplace like mugs from the 50s of the entire National League. And I was like, oh, those are fun.
Wow.
But much like
that's really
Reds,
cool. From the 50s?
From the 50s, if you see
there's
like the
no
gold rim
doesn't have lead in it. You're drinking lead. There's zero chance that's not made out of mostly lead.
It is. There's a San Francisco Friars one. That's how old these are. But this show felt kind of like I'm expecting the Red season to go. So there you go.
Cincinnati lead. That's what you're drinking right now.
The Cincinnati Leads. No, it's pure ceramic.
Okay. You know, in the 50s, they made ceramic out of lead. Like, everything was made out of lead back then.
Everything?
So, everything.
There you go.
All right. Well, there you
go. Even the gold rims made out of lead.
Well, I mean, if it's probably not really gold, it's probably not really gold. It's probably paint. And all paint in the 1950s was made out of lead. So, I'm just trying to look out for you. Those are fantastic.
Well, thanks. You guys can watch me get lead poisoning on stream then. So, what a fun way to kick off this episode, Alex.
Yeah.
This episode was not as good as last week. This was like it's so funny because in wrestling, I feel like you either get a 1-2 punch of like killer show with a killer show, or you get a killer show and then another show. Like that just kind of moves things along. This wasn't detrimentally bad. But compared to the barn burner of last week, this was not as sizzling. Not as sizzling as my insights are going to be with this lead.
Tom Valley says, Alex, lead is good for you. Duh.
Should we do?
We have nothing else. So I'm going to say 1950s puns. Because
I was going to say elements of the periodic table. So yours is actually better.
Yeah, because you don't have to be in like 11th grade chemistry currently to know what the periodic table of elements are.
I got my nerd glasses on tonight.
No, we're
Google a periodic table.
We're doing 1950s puns. Just start. We'll figure it out. It'll work. Just go just on a separate screen other than this one. Watch that part of Back to the Future, and you'll start figuring it out.
Just gonna be a bunch of puns about the movie Grease for a really long time.
Yeah, sure. So we started out with Chelsea Green and Sol Ruca. Was Chelsea in Barcelona on Friday, or did they pre-tape that before she went to Europe? Has she been on the Europe tour and just flew back early to Orlando for this match, or did she not go and they made it seem like she was there even though she wasn't?
Was she on SmackDown last week? She had something that could have been a pre-tape.
Yeah, exactly. She was backstage with Aldis and somebody else Oh, Zelina. Zelina was like, well, by the way, I'm coming for that title, even though I haven't won a match in like 2 years. I'm coming for that title. And Alba and Piper were like being secret Hervesy. But I don't know if so she's flying all over. She tweeted about it. My hell. Literally my hell. I hate air travel. I can't stand it. My ears pop more than normal people's. Like, I'm in pain literally the entire time I'm on a flight. And then for about 3 days afterwards, like, it's my hell. I can't imagine it. So good for her that she can do that. But
you also convinced yourself that, I mean, not like a far stretch in the current news, but right. You're like, my plane is not going to land safely. You've also gotten to that.
True.
For sure.
Yes. Yeah, no, for sure.
Alex, this is a terrible pun topic. Everybody's rejecting it.
All right, then. I don't know.
Wild card, whatever you guys want to do.
Hard metals puns. I don't know. Like, I don't know.
Hard metals puns.
I don't know.
I'm drinking out of a Cincinnati Reds cup. We could just do baseball puns.
It's during spring training. We usually save that for opening day, but we'll do it now. Fine. Baseball puns. Fine. Baseball puns. Does anybody object to baseball puns? Okay. Joseph Molina says duck and cover. Duck Hudson and cover, which would be a thing you would do in the 1950s.
It would be a thing you did in the 1950s. And
come back, Hurricane! Come back, Shane Helms, because that's a movie from the 50s. There we go. All right. So Tom LaValle says I'm doing 60s movies puns now. Apparently, that's where. Apparently,
through the years.
I don't know. So yeah, Meet Norma says, I watched hockey and Daredevil instead of NXT. I made the right choice. It's taco night at Meat Castle. Let's crank. Hill Valley Clock Tower of Doom. Perfect.
These are like this. These are some deep cuts. I'm just saying.
Fine. Anyway, Chelsea Green versus Sol Ruca was a match that happened. Chelsea Green fought through the jet lag to have her style of match. It was fine. Sol Ruca was sloppy at points. It wasn't a long match. There were a lot of matches tonight. None of them were long. It was just the main event was 7 minutes. It's just, it was whatever it was. It was.
I don't know. Were any of the matches over 10 minutes tonight?
Didn't feel like it. Maybe
the family matches.
The 6-man was?
Yeah, that was probably longer.
But
some short matches, to your point. I noticed that too. I don't know if people were like beat up from last week or not available or whatever, but yeah, this match was not Sol Ruca's best, which is a shame. Like I'm so rooting for her because I think there's something really special with her. But this wasn't the best. I did like the ending though. I did like Chelsea being prepared for the Soul Snatcher in a cool way. That was a pretty neat finish. But yeah, just not the best day for Sol Ruca, but I get where the story's going.
Do you? What's the story?
Aren't we gonna get probably a Zelta versus Chelsea title defense next?
I mean, maybe. I just thought we were getting the tag match. Like,
I feel like eventually.
I think this will continue for a while, but my point is my thing would be why? I mean, you have more people in your employ on SmackDown other than Michin and Zelina Vega.
That's it. That's all they got.
Chelsea Green can't. Is this the result of doing the double champ thing that we can't just have a mid-card in NXT with the mid-card title for the women's. We have to bring a mid-card title from a different show to NXT for a timeline?
Well,
or
what's funny about that is that's not true because Steph is defending both belts on the same episode next week. We find out, right? So
yeah,
I will say, after this match, I was kind of, because Chelsea's been around NXT a few times, and I was like, why are they treating her title like it's what the tag titles should be doing? Like, when you unified the NXT women's tag titles with the main roster tag titles, I thought those were going to be traveling around here way more often. It feels like we see more of Chelsea Green. And you're right, this is a short-sightedness on the main roster for those mid-card titles. Like, they're just not utilizing their talent there at all. That is frustrating for sure. Give me more Piper and Zelta, though, in the ring at the same time. That'll make me very happy. But I was disappointed with how short this match was, and I was kind of bummed that it wasn't Sol Ruka's best showing, but she's awesome. Like, she's such a unique presence compared to everybody else on the roster, because I feel like nobody in NXT is allowed to be understated, and I feel like she very much is. But it does kind of feel like we're just waiting around until Zarya turns on her, right? Like, kind of feels like it, because they don't have tag titles to fight for. Like, I don't want to be a broken record about that, but like, would you take away the tag titles and you still have tag teams around, the Meta Gals, like Zelta and or Zarya, Zelta and Sol Ruka? It doesn't make sense. I get having alliances, but it doesn't make sense to have tag teams when you don't have a belt to be going for. The Meta Gals showed up at Sacrifice in TNA. That could be kind of fun to see Sol Ruka and Zarya mix it up on the TNA side for tag belts. That could be really neat. But I don't know.
There was speaking very quickly of TNA. There was a Cor Jade Stan account, and it was not labeled as such, so I did not know until I clicked through. But I never check my Twitter anymore. Like, I do it like once every 3 days. And I just happened to get a notification or something, so I clicked through, and then I ended up on my For You page. It was Friday night. Was that when Sacrifice was? It was late Friday night, and all I see is a picture of Cor Jade holding the TNA Knockouts title, and it says, Cor Jade is your new TNA Knockouts champion. And I was completely in the dark about anything that happened on that show. And so I frantically was, what the hell? They put like looking everywhere and like realized, no, that was a Stan account doing like, I hope this happens.
No, she won.
Did she actually win?
She did win.
Everyone told me no, she didn't. So she did win.
No, I'm pretty sure she won. Yeah.
Did Masha win? Did Masha win or did Cora win?
Somebody had told me that, because I was reviewing SmackDown while it was on, and I don't really keep up. I'll let the chat tell us.
The chat will tell us.
I thought Cora won. I thought people were like
Masha
talking all
won.
about that. But
Masha won.
She should have. Okay.
Yeah.
I was confused.
Masha, this is fantastic that neither of us give a damn.
I saw the same stuff though. Like I saw all the same nonsense.
Yeah. Anyway, what I did see, because now you had me all confused, because I went and I actually read a review of it that said Masha won, but Cora did great. So
good. I'm glad.
So that is what, and I'm very happy with that for her. I think that the Knockouts division can be really great for the NXT women who aren't quite at that level to do Stephanie stuff for the time being.
Sure.
I think that sucks for the TNA women who were like, hey, we were all set here. We were good. We didn't need like your junior division to come over here and take all of our spots. That wasn't what we thought we were getting when our higher ups signed this deal. So I feel for them as well, but I hope it is a good partnership for all, though I highly suspect it will not be so for TNA because
I'll say this though, from my understanding, which is clearly not a lot, since I also was tricked by the same thing that you were. I used to review ROH. I couldn't watch TNA while it was on. This weekend I was reviewing SmackDown while it was on. I don't fully keep up with the product. I go back and watch certain things. And also just by virtue of the industry, a lot of my favorites have moved on. Speedball, Josh Alexander. So I'm not like as in it as I normally am. But I'm glad Cora had a great showing. That's fantastic. And from what I think I understand, when you have the Knockouts tag belts and the Knockouts championships, like there is room for other people to come over. Like I think their roster is quite good on the Knockout side. They've always been through the years where women wrestling was treated like crap. They were the ones holding down women's wrestling in the United States. So but from what I understand, like there is room for a talent influx on the women's side because those tag titles, that seems to happen in every company, kind of pulled that division in multiple directions. So but I'm glad that Cora showed out. That I knew. That was universally on my timeline. So that's great. I'm glad she's starting to, I'm assuming, feel more comfortable post-injury, just like settling back into her wrestling. And the TNA gals are getting some title shots on the other side. So far, I think it's been at least like an even exchange. This I saw too, that Fatal Influence attacked Masha.
Oh, good. So they're stretching them and making them pull double duty now too, because Fallon is firmly involved with the Stephanie thing here. So like my thing is that no one should pull double duty. Single duty for all. You have enough women to go around that no one should be pulling double duty on anything.
It's a shame we already have puns because you're saying duty a lot, but that's fair. I'm trying to think if there's anybody that hasn't, because like I don't know if there's anybody that's on the NXT side that's not getting TV exposure that should be right now, like obviously.
Was it just JC? I don't know, man. Listen, this is all going to be very confusing to me because I cannot pay attention to TNA because I just can't, because I watch enough wrestling. I can't watch more of it. So I need to just start like reading rundowns of it every Thursday night and just saying, okay, at least I know what happened. Because
you can listen to the TNA post show with Joel and Cresta.
I could, but it would be a lot faster to read through match results, and that's it. So
pay attention to Joel. That's fine. I was just kidding. No, but you're right. There's a talent exchange place, so probably should do more of a due diligence than when it just shows up on our screen. But they also don't make it easy to watch. Like they're working on a TV rights deal because they're so inaccessible. But like I'm the same as you, where like I cover wrestling pretty much every day of the week. I still live tweet ROH, even though I don't review it anymore. Like I'm tapped out on how much more I'm going to be seeking out. Yeah. Outside of the stuff I really want to, like New Japan.
Ryan Cicchini says, shout out to Alba for taking all of that spear. Yes, indeed. This is the thing, is that if Alba Fire was still Kaylee Ray or even a reasonable facsimile thereof, man, you could sell me for days on Zelta versus Kaylee Ray. Give that thing 11 minutes and let them beat the hell out of each other.
Please.
But Alba Fire is now currently the second most important henchman of a woman who actively does not want to defend her title, which is everything I did not. I love Chelsea. I love Piper. I love Alba Fire, a.k.a. Kaylee Ray. The presentation of what the U.S. champion is everything I didn't want the mid-card titles to be for the women. I love Chelsea, and I know she can work, and she's really good at this. And the problem is when you're good at this is all they want you to do, is just be a chicken shit. And I have no time for it. So that's my thing.
Well, it's also, even character aside, because you're right, she is very good at it. And say you even are signed up for the chicken shit stuff. The booking has just been Michin and Zelina Vega, who has no other like real wins. So it's even if you're sold on Chelsea, which a lot of people are, and the character, and even if you're okay with that being like your mid-card belt picture, they have done a piss poor job of building up contenders for her. Yeah. So that's a bummer. But glad to see her around here. Glad to see, like, I'm glad to see that this is a robust women's roster. They tell us every episode. But like a lot of them are very active on the program as they're bolstering the men's roster. Like as Ricky Starks is coming in, like they're still doing a good job of keeping the women very much. It wasn't like, oh, new people arrived and now the women take a back burner after carrying the show for all this time. Like they're doing a good job of keeping the TV time pretty even.
Ryan Giacchini saying that I thought Ruca had a chance to the Soul Crushers had a chance to take the tag belt since there's rumors of Wyatt 6 versus Judgment Day at WrestleMania. Are there rumors? I have not seen those. It'd be great if they put Alexa Bliss in the Wyatt 6, or if we ever saw the Wyatt 6 at any point since, I don't know, December. When was the last time we saw them on TV at all? The idea that in 33 days, one woman who's in a faction who hasn't been seen in months, and a woman who's not currently in that faction, who also hasn't done much TV since coming back, would be in a tag team in a title match, just makes my skin crawl. You should have been building this tag team feud now since the Royal Rumble, if not earlier. The idea you would just throw them together. Remember how Andrade was in a tag match that was made the night before at last year's WrestleMania? Please don't do that anymore. Although I would love to see Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross back together again. Could you please do that and not like the week before the match happens? Thank you.
One of them was hurt, right? But like, I feel like
if there are 6 of them, do the stuff without the one that's hurt.
That part, and on top of that, like, of any faction that you could build a cool story out of someone getting injured, it's probably these guys who murder people on the regular.
Unless the injury is to a part of the body that precludes them from being able to walk to ringside. Like, even if so, like, Joe Gacy riding around in a backpack being carried by Eric Rowan would be really cool. He could absolutely be C-3PO to Eric Rowan's Chewbacca. Let's just do that. Why wouldn't we do that? I don't know. Referees says, I would so much rather see the Metaphor team going up against Spitfire as the champions than against the Elegance brand, though. Which are things that would make sense to people who watch TNA regularly, I'm assuming.
Sorry, well, I didn't see that chat. You took it down so fast.
I would so much rather see the Metaphor team going up against Spitfire as the champions than against the Elegance brand, though.
No, that I know enough about. That I wouldn't say I know ball, but I know enough about that to agree with you there. The Elegance brand is, of course, the former Dana Brooke, and Spitfire is Killer Kelly and another badass.
I do love Killer Kelly.
I believe. I could be showing my ass so bad right now on the TNA side.
Meat Normus says the women's tag divisions exist to set up singles feuds. That's why Sasha left, was the lack of vision. AEW could also use lady tag belts. Meat forever, veggies sometimes. I'm totally down with you. That exact reason for sure.
Damn it! I was wrong. Danny Luna and Jody Threat. I did know that they were badasses, though. And those are two badasses.
Those are too bad. That much I do. Those are two badasses.
What was Killer Kelly was in? Oh, her and Masha were a tag team, right? I'm gonna stop pretending I know what I talk about. Let's get back to pretending I know what I'm talking about on a show that I actually watch.
You know who I like in TNA is that Trinity Fatu. Whatever happened to her? I really like the cut of her jib.
I got one right.
Is Mickey James still in there doing those country strong style matches? You know, I really like that Mickey James.
Do you think Samoa Joe is still over in the old TNA?
I got one right. What's old Christopher Daniels up to? He seems like I always love that young man. He was very, very good. The fallen angel, Christopher Daniels.
I got one right. Killer Kelly and Masha. They were always steaming up my timeline. That's probably why I'm so aware of them.
Yes. So moving on to the second segment of the night, now 25 minutes into the show. Backstage, Javon tries to buddy up to Trick Williams again, who the last time was like, I have no time to talk to you. And Javon's like, hey, yeah, totally. But anyway, we have so much in common, right? Like, because those guys attacked me and they also attacked you. And like, we got to band together and like get these guys out of our locker room. They're not, are they in your locker room? It's always been very nebulous with the whole bunch of these guys who attack people while wearing the shield masks and sometimes one sleeve. Like, anyway, he's like, this ain't about us. We're not the same thing. I don't care about any of that stuff. All it's about is getting my title back from Oba. You don't have to worry about that. You're never going to be a champion. You're never going to be NXT champion. You're not like me at all. And I was like, well, that I do disagree with. I do believe Javon Evans will be an NXT champion at some point.
Yeah.
And Trick Williams now fully heel. And perhaps, as someone says, perhaps he's not at all concerned with those fellas, because Ryan Giacchini says that that quartet is being led by Trick. And I didn't want to put that up because I wanted to talk a lot about their terrible name in a separate segment. But like, yes, it's very. I don't hate the idea of Trick being involved with them, only because I think it would add a lot of cachet to the group, which needs it, because Trick Williams is regardless of whether or not you think he's the truth or whatnot, he is a major face on television and has been for a very long time. And these guys are literally being referred to as these four rogue athletes. That's what Vic Joseph called them at the beginning of the night. These four rogue athletes.
And he later said performance center athletes, which
performance center athletes.
If you want to make someone sound uncool,
yeah.
Performance center athletes.
Performance center athletes.
They're at a center where they are working on their performances is the nerdiest thing you could say about a
The only way they could be more nerdy is if they were performance center mathletes. That's the only way you could make them nerdier.
Well, hold on. 4 mathletes running around, solving all sorts of equations.
So after Trick leaves, Lexis King comes in and is like, yeah, man, you got to listen to Trick. You're never going to be a champion. World champion? No way. Might not even be the Heritage Cup champion. Punch in the face. And that match is made for next week. For the Heritage Cup is Javon Evans versus Lexis King. Boy, oh boy, I can't wait for that match to not have a finish. Or for it to be a really, really unfortunate finish.
Yeah. It'll go one way or the other, because I don't think Javon is winning quite yet. But no, I guess it seems like he and Ethan Page will settle their score another time, which I'm okay with, because their third match, unless they're going to call them up sooner than later, should be for a title. Like, that was built so well. They both have won a piece. Like, I feel like that's one that I'm okay with sitting in the background and then revisiting. I think that's a wise story call, which is fun. And this is an interesting possibility. I would love it if Trick was the leader of this group, but I think we're going to talk about when all 4 of them talked later. It's very clear who like the talker of the group is. Yeah. But Lexis King versus Javon is fine. I just really hope Noam Dar's on his way back really soon. Like, I feel like he's the perfect person to beat Lexis King for it. Like, if he's changing everything that it means, the person that beats him should be someone who cares about everything that it meant. And Noam Dar is the perfect guy for that, especially assuming Tyler Bate is going to be on the main roster, which has been reported. Yeah. So,
Noam Dar should come back and do that, because he doesn't have a metaphor to come home to. Because the metaphor gals, Lash and Jakara, are doing stuff in TNA. And I don't know if you caught this.
Mensa was over there too, I think.
He is also, but also when they said only the people who are around the ring for the Underground match are members of the Evolve roster. Oro Mensah was one of them. So he got busted down to the show with no fans in the stands. And that makes me sad because Metaphor was amazing, and I thought we could just do the Meta 3 for a while, but no. Also, when Noam Dar comes back, doesn't he have to get revenge on Ethan Page? Ethan Page is the one who put him out in kayfabe.
That's true.
He's the one who attacked him. So, like, he's got to come back and attack that guy, right?
Yes. Wow, he's been out a really long time.
A really long time, yeah.
I miss him. If anybody can sell a Meta 1 gimmick, though, it's Noam Dar.
with 3 puppets that are like attached to his shoulders, and he walks down there, and they can reaches over and makes one of them their mouths move, makes the other one move. Okay.
So Oro Mensah just rolled up Ethan Page a bunch and then got sent back down. That's not fair. That's People are saying Wendy Chu as well. Yeah, like she's a tough one because she can work with everybody. So I get why you would want her working with newer people. But like, are you just never going to call her up to the main roster? She's great at everything you give her.
I mean, I don't know what her spot is on the main roster, but like, I don't know. Like,
I feel like you went full tilt in a creative direction, and to have that suddenly disappear is weird.
Yeah. No, it wasn't working because they didn't put anything behind it or tell you what the hell it was all about. There was like, hey, she's really creepy now. We're never going to give you an explanation for why or how this happened or give her a real storyline or she's just creepy now. And I feel like you can't
leave it up to you to assume it's a sleep paralysis demon or
whatever.
Yeah.
But like, yeah. The D'Angelo family is backstage. We're gonna kick their asses. We're gonna totally win. That is a thing that is definitely gonna happen, and not at all a thing that's not gonna happen. That is what I have been assured by myself. And here comes Tony D. Is like, wow, I can't wait to go out there and watch all of you guys kick their asses, which is a thing that is definitely gonna happen. And then like, actually, I thought maybe it'd be better if you were back here alone with nobody protecting you, so that after we kick their asses, which again is a thing that is definitely going to take place. After that, well then, Sean Spears is not going to know what to do because all 3 of his followers will have had their asses kicked. Again, assuredly, this is a thing that's going to happen. So then he would attack you at ringside. So we don't want that to happen because you're bad back and all. So you're going to stand back here. And at some point during our match, the camera is going to cut to you for no reason. Surely not because another bad thing's going to befall you. And Tony D's like, you know what? That's a fantastic idea. I think I will stay back here, where assuredly nothing bad will happen to me. Is a thing that, like, they were really hinting pretty hard that something terrible was going to happen.
Backstage or in the parking lot. That's just never been the case. But Alex, you know what?
What?
They were so heavy-handed with this that I was almost impressed by how confident they were. Like, they would have laid odds on this. They would have
oh my God.
In.
Yeah, no, I'm
bet on that more than like
Stacks put a cool G down on the fact that Tony D was going to be fine backstage and no one was going to attack him.
100%.
Yeah.
But they were probably like, where do I go to place such bets?
Yeah, like, that's not possible. Yeah, you go to like the OTB or something.
What are you gonna do? Bet on wrestling?
Like online?
BetOnline, you say?
I want to talk to you guys about our great partner at BetOnline AG. Yes, the place that lets you bet on pro wrestling. We've gotten our pro wrestling betting odds from them for years, well before we even worked with them. And we're going to tell you a little bit more about them. They got the earliest lines, the fastest payout, the industry best bonuses. They've been trusted for 25 plus years because of their safe and secure environment and their quick payouts. But you can bet on pro wrestling. How cool is that? If you think you know more than anybody, go ahead and look at those odds. It's the same ones you've seen on Fightful for years. You might see one that sticks out to you and you go, wait a second, there's no way that person's going to win. Why are they an underdog? Make yourself some money. BetOnline AG, and hey, it doesn't stop there. Whatever sports you want, they got you covered. Popular games like blackjack and roulette, supernova, skyward, all that stuff. BetOnline AG. Please bet responsibly and only bet what you can at BetOnline AG.
You want to know what's funny, Alex?
What?
I think I made it pretty clear I don't pay close attention to the TNA product.
Mm-hmm.
I made so much money betting on TNA at BetOnline. I turned $25 into $200 at BetOnline because
You mean the other way around?
I turned $25 into $200.
Although you said I turned $2,500 into $200, and that was
Oh
like,
God,
that
if that's what I said, that's not what I did.
okay. Then I missed it.
I would not bet more than $25. That's why.
Well, good. I'm glad.
But the odds were so tilted in the favor of Jordan Grace over Masha Slamovich that I was like, I mean, there's an incredible upside, and throwing $20, $25 doesn't hurt. And Joel was like, no, the story is begging for Masha to win this thing. And I said, for once and only once, I'm going to listen to Joel Pearl. And I did, and it paid off. So there you
go. Stephanie Vaquer is here with both of her title belts, and she
here?
says that no, not she was there. She
on
comes
the show.
out.
Okay.
She comes out on the show. She's not here.
I
Stephanie,
got really excited.
Stephanie, would you like to come in? No.
I just see little horns tilted into the frame.
So, yeah, this is. Well, I will reserve judgment until next week. This she says that she's the Primera. She's like, I did like that she says English is not my first language. Wrestling is my first language. And I thought that was good. I liked that.
That was sweet. Yeah, I liked that.
And I welcome anybody in the back, because we have this. I came here because this is the best women's division in the world. This is a thing they have told me to say ad nauseum, so I am saying it. And out comes Jordan Grace, and I was like, okay, this makes sense. You ever beat Roxanne? She comes out and she says that because I beat Roxanne, I believe I am in the position to be attacked by Jada Parker right now. And Jada Parker runs up and shoves her down, and Jordan Grace goes, "Ugh," and I was like, "Just like I'm so." Listen, you're going to show me Jordan Grace lifting 8 women at a time.
Yeah,
she's going to stack women, there are 8 of them on her shoulders, walking around. But then I'm going to remember how you told me to believe that Jada Parker shoved her, and she was like, "Ah," and I was like, it doesn't make a lot of sense to me. And then Jada Parker does the running butt and kind of smushes her face between a butt and a barricade, and that knocked her out for the rest of the show. Because there was a point later where Jada Parker was doing a backstage and it was like, and Jordan now, and now Jordan attacks her now, no, never, didn't happen. So anyway, Jada Parker attacks Jordan Grace and says, "You have to stand in the back of the line because I've been here longer than you, and so I get a title shot." And she talks to Stephanie Vaquer and says that I'm gonna beat you for that title, and I don't want to wait until Stand and Deliver. I want to do it now. And so later we have Steph talking to Ava and says, "Okay, well I'll get you your title match for next week versus Jada Parker." And then Fallon comes in and says, "What about my rematch for the North American title? I want it. Give it to me now. I want it." And she's like, "Oh, we've been over this. Like, you can't have it." "Well, fine, you can have it." "Okay, well, I want it next week." "Well, you can't do that because she's already got a title match for the world title next week." "Well, give it to me next week anyway. Not my problem." He's like, okay. Stephanie does the thing that I want Oba to do, which is to say, "Yes, I'll face them twice. I'll face them both." Like, yes, one at a time. That's fine. And then Fallon's like, but I want the second match. Like Fallon is really being very obnoxious here. And Stephanie says, yes, I will do it, which is not at all what Ava wants. And Ava gives in to Steph. Remember how much of a problem she had with it when Oba was like, I would like to book my own title matches, please. And she was like, how dare you? That is my job. And when Stephanie does it, it's fine. And I don't think there's any like ulterior anything about it. I just think it's lazy writing.
Yes, I agree.
Ava should be consistent. I book the matches around here, not you. I have already given Steph a world title defense next week. You get yours the week after that, if that's all right with you, champ. Great. That's what we're doing. You know, like the idea that she would say, no, Trick, I won't talk to you. Oba, you don't get to make your matches. I make the matches around here. Stephanie, you would just like to do whatever you want. Fine, you can do that. That's not consistent. And I don't like that that's inconsistent. I also don't like that we're doing Steph Vaquer is pulling double duty next week, where she will have a Jada Parker match first. And gosh, I wonder, will BetOnline.ag allow me to place a bet on whether or not Jordynne Grace does a run-in and cost Jada Parker that match next week? Because if so, I'd like to bet my entire life savings, please.
Jam Beard calling out the most important thing here. That Jordynne isn't used to being 5'5" with those shoes on. That's why she fell so easily.
Yeah.
Just wait till she's back to her 5-foot fight.
Yeah.
She posted a very funny thing where she had those platforms on and she looked like the Patrick Star meme, just like walking and serving. I agree that the attack from Jada probably should have been a little more fierce to keep her down and keep her knocked out. And probably a little more intense. But what I did like was, you know, Jada has been picking up wins and valuable ones. Like she's had high quality opponents and she's been winning. So it doesn't feel like she's out of pocket saying this, though she says it with enough attitude that it still kind of keeps her on the right side of the fence with things. So I really, really liked that aspect of it. Like that is so, it seems so obvious, but it's something so many wrestling programs don't do. So including this one for a very long time. So great to see that. Great to see people from that class also getting elevated to this position. Like Steph, Zelda, Julia, Jordynne Grace coming in. Like you could very easily lose sight of these people, but they've done a good job keeping her on screen, keeping Kalani on screen, keeping Soul on screen. Like that's a good thing. That talent rotation is very good. Yeah, couldn't have telegraphed that anymore. Like Jordynne Grace will certainly be running in probably a more reasonable footwear to cost Jada that match, I think.
Yeah.
Which I don't know how I feel about it from the perspective of like Jada's the heel and Jordynne Grace shouldn't need to, in my opinion, Jordynne Grace should be presented as someone as, oh, if Jada wins the title, great, I'll fight her to win that title. Like she shouldn't give a shit who holds the title because it's gonna be hers if she's next for it, right?
Right. That I guess that would make sense, except for that's not how this company has ever booked anything ever. So,
but like Jordynne Grace,
you blindsided me while I was talking. Like I didn't do anything to you. I don't barely even remember meeting you. You hit me with your butt on television. I am going to end your world. You know what I mean? Like
you hit me with your butt on television. It's like
I feel like Jordynne Grace does not like that much at all.
Probably not. Probably not.
Yeah. Hank and Tank.
Are the Hype Bros now?
Yeah, they're the Hype Bros because they're extreme, and so they have their match with Briggs and Inamura. Hank and Tank keep trying to do big splashy stuff, like dives to the outside and topes, and it's just not going well for them because look at them. You know what I mean? So they end up losing in 5.5 minutes. And I was like, Good, because I really like Briggs and Inamura, and I believe they'd have a much better match versus the Blurry Boys than Hank and Tank. Hank and Tank to me are really fun, but they're the new version of Heavy Machinery. And those guys were fun, but also never should have been near a title. So, you know what I mean? Like, I think Briggs and Inamura are real grapplers, and Hank and Tank are fun, big beefy boys. And there's a difference between the two things, and one of them should be near titles, and the other one shouldn't, in my opinion. So, I'm happy about who won. But the whole thing is that Hank and Tank also have a thing afterwards where they're upset about the loss and like, I don't know, what did we do wrong? The Hardy Boys, they said we need to get extreme, so we did dives that really don't suit our normal wrestling style, and somehow we lost because of it. That's so weird. And in comes Wesley and Team Bouncy Beef, who were like, yeah, but because you guys are really bad at everything except for eating contests, says one of those guys. And like I believe both Hank and Tank have lost a considerable amount of weight over the last 6 months. Like Tank in particular used to be a much beefier boy than he is currently.
Yeah.
So like they've slimmed down quite a bit. They're still classified as heavyweights, but like they're not nearly as rotund, I guess, as they used to be. There's a lot less Otis about them than there used to be.
Well, it could have been like a celery eating contest. Sounds terrible, but
I mean, you put some peanut butter on that. I wouldn't say no to a celery eating contest with peanut butter on it.
Not sneezing at that. That's fine.
Yeah.
Well, remember when Hank was a security guard that wore the same outfit every day?
I do. I remember that quite well. Yes. Yep.
It feels like we haven't come a long way until you remember things like that.
Yeah.
But these two are really like, they have a place here that they're still finding, I think. Like they, if they weren't bigger dudes, what they would have done tonight would have been written for Pretty Deadly. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Like it feels like they're exploring what they can do with them a little bit. Yeah. I do like that they're taking steps to build the tag division again. They just didn't do that for a really long time.
They didn't. They really didn't.
They just didn't. So yeah. I'm glad that we're seeing like, okay, Briggs and Inamura are like not to be messed with. Those guys are going after the titles. They feel like they should be. I was thinking about what you said a couple weeks ago tonight watching Briggs. I think you were just right about some people just shine brighter as tag wrestlers, and he's one of those. Like he just is. And they're a really fun combination, the double vest team. So I'm glad that we're getting to see what a hierarchy in the tag division looks like of like, okay, these guys are near the titles, these ones are not. Because not that long ago, I would have been like, all of these guys are on the exact same playing field. Mm-hmm. So we're starting to see that separation, which is nice. I don't know what is next for a team like Hank and Tank. Are they going to impersonate someone else and see if that style works for them until they get a win? Like
this is their non-title character building arc where they have a storyline that doesn't really go anywhere or do anything, but allows the people who are in charge in NXT to see what they can do with character work.
Sure.
Like every so often you'll just see an act get one of those. Like we're still, I guess, in the midst of the one for Carmen Petrovic right now, but we had gotten past it for a bit, but it looks like we're back into it now. But yeah, this is the style. Like as we've come to recognize, everyone needs to have a heel run and a babyface run, just so we can see how you work as this thing. We're watching wrestling school. You know what I mean? Like this is the thing.
And part of that is really cool. And like, part of that makes for a bad TV program. Yeah.
Like when you're in like a BFA program in acting, like, and you're doing Shakespeare class, you do your hero monologue and your villain monologue. And you work on both of them equally, just at a different time in your time there. And you're trying to figure out, okay, so this is when I'm playing this archetype, these are some nuances I can pepper in depending on, but this is the bag of tricks that everyone comes into playing the hero or the villain, and then you try and move everything around depending on who you are, who the specific character is. That's just the thing that you do in acting school. And also, here we are in wrestling school where you learn how to play a bad guy and how to play a good guy. It's just usually not broadcast on the CW network when you're doing it in acting school. So that is, everyone's going to have weird little growing pains. And I'll get to tell you, you can watch a really great actor who's really good at playing the hero, who sucks at playing the villain.
Sure.
You watch that all the time in these acting classes. When I would adjudicate them and you know, as an MFA student, sit in and give give input. And I'd be like, okay, so what you're doing here with this, fantastic. This other thing, you got to figure out a way to approach that in a different way, because this isn't working for you. It's not who you are. You know what I mean? There's you got to figure out a way, because this isn't who you are. You have to find a way to get into it differently. And you do that, but you do it behind closed doors. It was almost always a one-on-one session where nobody else was watching them struggle with it, as opposed to here on television. And so that's something that I've kind of had to like accept watching NXT, is that none of this is the final finished product. It would help a lot though if the students were being led by teachers who seem to know what they're doing. But the problem with NXT is that's just not the case.
Well, it's weird because like I feel like we've actually turned a pretty good corner on, I think I said this a couple of weeks ago too, like I feel like at least most of the people on NXT are now human beings that I could hypothetically meet in real life, where the 2.0 era was cartoonishly the opposite.
Yeah.
And I like that about it. I love when we get to see things like, it's so tricky because like what you said is true and that it doesn't always make for a good TV program, but I love that we got to see Kalani click in as a heel way more than a face. And I love that we got to see the Creeds go from being not much of anything to being like a real deal tag team, which they were presented that way on the main roster. So like there's parts of that are so cool to see, and then there are parts of it that you're like, that doesn't make for a great television show though.
Right. So Eddie Thorpe walks in the locker room, everyone's like, like they did the scene from Forrest Gump where young Forrest walks in the school bus and they're like, seats taken, seats taken, seats taken. And they did that to Eddie Thorpe as they all left. And he's the only one in there who will not leave is Ridge Holland. I'm like, oh, good, we get a tag match. So we're gonna see Eddie Thorpe and Ridge Holland tag team against somebody. That'll be fun. But you know, like you get it. Everyone here doesn't accept you either. Man, they just don't know what real talent is or whatever, says Eddie Thorpe. And then Ridge Holland's like, well, honestly, don't know what that guy says anymore. So I'll take care of my sports entertainer tonight. You just make sure you take care of yours. As calling Ricky Starks a sport, he's a very entertaining wrestler. I don't know if it's legal to call Ricky Starks a sports entertainer. He's just very, very good at being an entertaining wrestler. That's different.
That I agree with. I have not liked this shift from, we say, face and heel on screen and sports entertainer on screen. Like it's different than 3 years ago when Eddie Kingston was doing it. Like that felt different. Like just say you're a brawler and not like Ricky Starks is always talking about how handsome he is, right? Just be like,
right.
Yeah, let's knock these pretty faces around a little bit or whatever. Like stuff like that, you know. I would rather it go that way. But you were right. We're going to do a tag match next week.
So we get the D'Angelo family versus the Culling. I saw some people talking about how Izzy versus Ange was the best thing on the entire show. I just can't with mixed tags. It's just it's
the rules.
Everything just stops, and it's just I don't know.
Gender. Yeah.
It's a thing. I loved Luca's hot tag. I was like,
Luca's
that guy
hot
showed
tag
me
was
something.
fantastic.
I was like, okay. Like, remember when I'm like, every now and then I go, oh, this is what you're supposed to be doing. You're a hot tag guy. Like every now and then a guy will do a hot tag, and I'll be like, oh, that's your purpose here. You know what I mean? Like, and sometimes hot tag guys are the best thing about a show that you're watching is the guy doing a hot tag. You know who had who was an amazing hot tag guy, and then they broke up the tag team he was a part of, and then he just faded into obscurity. Was Titus O'Neil was a phenomenal hot tag guy.
He was.
As part of the what were they called? The Primetime Players. Like he was a phenomenal hot tag guy. But like sometimes that's what you do. You are that. And I mean, like Luca's
Enzo
really
made
good
a
at
career
it.
off of it.
Luca's
I mean, that
like,
was it. Yeah.
You know, so I don't know. I'm very intrigued to see what they're doing. The Shatter Mason is their finisher. It looks like there's too much stuff that's out there you could watch and get the sense of they're breaking this whole thing up. And I feel like that's premature because I really think that Stax and Luca work really well together as a tag team. So maybe they'll stay together if the family breaks up. I don't know. They end up losing this. So Duck Hudson was a great hot tag guy.
He was great at everything.
His ceiling is much higher than that, but he was a great hot tag guy. So
I really liked this match. I was surprised by how much I liked it. I think Stax has gotten really good at selling. Like he sold his ass off at a lot of spots in this. Nice to see Nico Vance do more than stand around.
Yeah.
He had a headlock on that he applied in this that I was like, okay, he gets it. Like it was locked in and he looked like he was trying to hurt someone. Like there are so many times. God, I'm gonna sound. I know how I sound. I'll put it this way, guys. Okay. I know how I sound when I say this. I know I sound like an old grump. I know that. But there are so many times in watching modern wrestling, and I'm not someone that's like, Will Ospreay actually isn't the best wrestler in the world because of whatever. I like sometimes when wrestling just feels like you're trying to hurt people and feels like a fight. And in NXT, we do see that the least probably because people are learning, and that's very hard to do, was like, I made this look like a fight when I'm actually trying to protect the person that I'm fake hurting is a very, very, very unnatural, weird thing to learn. But like sometimes when people put on moves, it just feels like they're putting on moves. And when there's supposed to be things that are going after people's neck and throat, in particular, that's not great. And Nico Vance put on a hell of a headlock and Stax sold the crap out of it. So stuff like that. I like to see in wrestlers. But this was a lot of fun. I felt like Izzy Dame and we'll forever call her Big Aunt, Adriana Rizzo. She's come a long way. She's come a long way, and I feel like this group absorption has been good for Izzy Dame as well. But they did have some really good encounters in this. I understand your complaint with mixed tags too, because it just does feel like someone from the other gender has tagged in, and now we must all do musical chairs until that stops. Like it gets distracting by nature of the format of it. But considering these were like the this was the factions without their leaders, right? That was such a huge part of the story here. I thought there was a lot of really good in-ring with one of the dumbest endings that you could possibly put on any wrestling match.
Before we talk about the dumb ending, I just wanted to compliment our friend Beej on his new long boys, because I don't think I've ever seen him in tights before. He's always wrestled in jeans. I was like, you went and you got yourself some tights made.
Between that and the haircut, I'm like, who is the? Oh God, yeah,
that's Beej. Look at Beej. Yeah, dumb ending. Like, not only do we cut back to Tony D'Angelo watching, so I have a question. Whenever the camera cuts back to a person watching the match backstage, and we see it on TV, is that shown on the Titantron every time, or just when that person gets attacked by somebody causing a distraction finish? Because I don't feel like, because it's often, sometimes in most matches, someone will be backstage keeping an eye on the action because they've got a stake in who wins this thing, right? So you'll see somebody, they'll be sitting there watching, and they'll just be doing this. Does that get shown to the entire arena, or is it just the time where Tony D'Angelo is back there watching it, and the four fake Shield guys come in and beat him up? Because that seems odd to me, and kind of that. Just don't do that.
Isn't that like an Attitude Era trope too? Isn't that when this popped up?
I don't know, but it's dumb. They all sit and watch as Tony D gets hit in the ribs with a lead pipe. There's so much lead in that pipe. It's like your coffee mug, and so it gets dropped. He gets the toss powerbomb thing through a table backstage, and they're like, "Oh, but what are we doing? Wow, we're watching that. That is crazy, huh?" Finally that clip is over, and we can all get shoved out of the ring right now. Like, it was just, you would think that one of them would have run backstage to help.
Here's
you know what I mean?
I could talk for 20 minutes about why I didn't like this ending. First of all, it was a bad ending, poorly executed, because the other team shoved them, which is not capitalizing on a distraction, if that makes sense. Like, this wasn't, they got distracted, and so I quickly applied a move to win the match. This was, we shoved them, which kind of gives them more time, considering it was all of them. It kind of gives them too much time to reset. And I don't think that's the fault of the wrestlers. I think that's the fault of what got produced as the ending of the match. I think it was bad. But like, for a distraction finish to work, you have to look like you're taking advantage of something, and they did not look like they were taking advantage of anything. It took another 3 moves to end it. And the other thing is, like, you're so in awe of someone getting attacked. Like, just the human instinct tells you, if you see somebody getting attacked, especially somebody you care about, you would then run backstage and try to stop that attack. Yeah. If I thought that was real and I was there, I would probably go to security, because I'm not dumb and I know my limitations. But my instinct would be immediately to go help that person, not to watch. And if it was my sister, I'm going to do something dumb and get myself hurt, and I'm going to run back there as soon as I can to help the person. So just all, like, it doesn't read well. Big Ange and Stax should have immediately jumped out of the ring to go and try and help Tony D. Ruca was the legal guy in the match. And so if he tried to leave, the ref would say, "If you leave, I got to count you out." And so Luca's like, "Okay, cool." And he turns around and immediately walks into Nico Vance's burning hammer finisher. They gave Nico Vance a burning hammer finisher. At least it's a finisher, not a transitional move. Don't get me started on that crap. But they gave Nico Vance a burning hammer, and he hit it on Ruca, and they won. Okay. There you go. Good match, silly ending.
Yeah.
But you know what, Alex? You don't have to have a silly ending to your encounters. You could have a well-played finish to everything that you're trying to accomplish. If you need a little help in producing a good finish, wow.
You dealing with a nosy mailman all up in your business about what you're ordering, what you're getting? Well, don't worry about it with BlueChew.com and the code FIGHTFUL. It ships discreetly. Discreetly. Fortunately for you, because the mailman's going to want to know what's going on. He's going to be delivering that mail to your house. He's going to hear all these sounds. He's going to be like, what's going on there? Well, I don't know, because this package doesn't say anything, but I have a feeling the package in there is saying something, and it will be, because of BlueChew.com and the code FIGHTFUL. Same active ingredients as Viagra and Cialis. Helps get you that main event performance and confidence. And you get your first shipment free when you go to BlueChew.com and use the code FIGHTFUL. Like I said, same active ingredients as Viagra and Cialis, but much more affordable and in a chewable. Take their online quiz, and then when approved, it ships straight to your door. My gosh. BlueChew.com and the code FIGHTFUL. Mind your own business, mailman.
See what I did there?
I saw what you were doing when you were doing it. Yes. It was like being a deer caught in the headlights when you drop one of those on me.
Hey, we'll take that as a mid-show reminder to remind you to get in your super chats, no humper chats tonight, and also to subscribe to FightfulSelect.com. Guys, it's WrestleMania season. All right, there's a lot going on. You're gonna want to be subscribed. Plenty of news on the way. And also, in addition to me and Alex being behind the paywall, my other Alex and I, we're going to try and go live for our SmackDown show at 8 o'clock on Friday, because we're going to split the difference. We're going to start the show when it starts airing in the U.S., but we are on the weird European live versus when it airs schedule. So we're going to cut it in the middle, especially for a Friday night. We figured we'd start it a little bit earlier, but that's just a quick programming note there. So you can join us on Friday for the SmackDown review then, but that's all free. You want like the good PLE and pay-per-view reviews. We got great stuff on the main. Objective analysis. Come be ridiculous behind the paywall.
Most objective.
Boring.
Yeah.
Come hang out and sing songs with me and Alex.
Yeah. JW Pringle says, hey, y'all, I got to do stupid work. Hi, Papa Ball. Keep cool, Gabagools. Watching in the background. Thank you, JW Pringle. Appreciate it.
Pringle.
For tuning in while you were at work. So I guess, again, 1950s puns were a thing that people rejected. However, we got some good ones. Also, baseball puns. Like, just get them in, whatever you want to do. Like,
however you want to send us your money tonight.
Cyclops is better than Wolverine, says Hairspray and Cryberry is superior to Grease, you coward. Yes, it is. Everything's better than Grease. Grease is terrible.
Yes, but Hairspray is not good.
But it's better than Grease.
Yeah. But it's not.
Sometimes Grease, which takes place over an entire school year.
I know, that did break our minds. But like, sometimes when things are like, oh, look at this legendary musical or whatever.
Yeah. I'm
like, these are like, Hairspray's not good. At least not the film adaptation. That was really bad.
Yeah. See, here's one. Mike Shutt came up with Secret Ben-Hurvis. Ben-Hur. 1950s movie. Ben-Hurvis. Lieutenant Photo decided to donate money on behalf of Mike Shutt for Secret Ben-Hurvis. And this is a great one from insert clever Nixon Newell pun. Nixon Newsial, which is for Stan Musial, which is a 1950s baseball player. Nailed it. Thank you very much. Insert clever Nixon Newell pun. So you see, we're doing well. This is good. This is good. Thank you very much, everybody. We'll do more of those in a bit. Carmen Petrovic came out tonight with Ashanti the Adonis, who was dressed as the SGS Discord called him Timu Cyclops, with the one bar things, and then the blue leather jacket, the sunglasses. Anyway, this match lasted 4 minutes. It actually lasted 3 minutes because the last minute was Carmen Petrovic looking at a chair. Because after 3 minutes of torturous fighting, Ashanti the Adonis passed a chair to Carmen Petrovic and says, "We cannot possibly win this match. You've been fighting her for 3 minutes and you can't put her away. Here, in full view of the referee, take this chair and hit her with it. That'll work. And Carmen Petrovic looks at a chair for at least 40 seconds before deciding, no, I don't want to win that way. And she passes the chair back out to Ashanti the Adonis. And then maybe 3 moves later, she stands in the middle of the ring and waits for a rolling elbow to hit her in the face. She is a black belt in karate. You don't have there's no guard that you have to like stop a dude from or a lady in this case from elbowing you in the face when they have to like spin around to prep for it. And then I was told in the SGS Discord that actual karate doesn't actually do head strikes. So there's no real defense for that in actual karate. And I was like, so Karate Kid was a lie? So, show me paint defense. Show me wax on, wax off. Show me sand the floor. That's all. Mr. Miyagi, I trusted you. Little kid me trusted you, Mr. Miyagi, that you were telling me what karate was actually all about. And I come now to find out at 45 years old that Karate Kid was a lie and that there is no actual defense for anybody trying to punch you in the face. That's crazy talk.
The opening match was $9.50. Briggs and Inamura versus Tank and Take was $5.44. The D'Angelo family match was $10.29. This match was $4.04. I'm okay with like a 10-minute match. The opener was actually longer than I thought it was going to be. Mm-hmm. You cannot. If you're going to do something that makes a wrestler look this bad, you cannot also then let them get no offense in because the match is so short. Like, that is just the food being bad and the portions being too small kind of thing. Like, it's not great. I feel like if you are a black belt in karate with the sword, you should be capable enough that you don't need your boyfriend who nagged you into a relationship to guide you through whether or not you should use a chair.
Yeah.
That's just my thoughts.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like I'm better than that now, and I don't have a black belt in karate, and I certainly don't have a sword, which is very upsetting.
Yeah. So Jada does her little monologue. It's a good promo outside of Ava's door, which has a combination lock on it. So it's definitely a broom closet where they keep a lot of it's the janitor's closet where they keep a lot of caustic materials, flammable things. So anyway, behind her we see Carmen basically breaking up with Ashanti because he tried to get her to use a chair. Like, she was like, how would you think? Why would you think that I would do that? I would never do that. I'm a good girl. Oh my God.
You don't
even know me at all. There you go. See?
Maybe if that's the end of the angle, this was the best match ever. That angle has never been good, and it's done nothing for either of them.
No, it hasn't. But they wasted a lot of that. This goes back to the middle, if not the beginning, of the college football season. I think she started flirting with him in like August.
I think you're right.
It took forever for them to finally start dating. We also have like Booker T screaming pheromones during the match, which was only 4 minutes long and only 3 minutes until this chair thing started. So he started yelling about pheromones and how like Ashanti the Adonis is definitely getting all these women coming after him because of pheromones.
Corey Graves is not my cup of tea as an announcer. I've been so thankful for him the past 48 hours.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I missed him tonight.
Yeah.
I felt like Michael Cole did not have his best showing yesterday. Mm-hmm. He's moved into like a top 3 WWE announcer.
Yeah, he really has. Just by default. Will Chisholm saying that room with the combination lock, that's where The Rock keeps his souls.
That tracks. That tracks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I wonder how many he has.
Oh, he's got lots. Yeah, lots. Cody wasn't. That's not his first soul. He's been doing it for a while.
Obviously,
Doing this for a while.
You don't get to the top of Hollywood being like a non-soul buyer. No way.
Ricky Saints versus Rich Holland is interminable. It is 12 and a half minutes long and might as well have been 45. Like, do you realize how, like, this is Ricky Saints' first singles match? This was not great, and not because of Ricky Saints. This just does not feel like the right dance partner for Ricky Saints to show off what he can do. If this scares me, because this feels like if it's his first match, you would want to show people what he can do, what you think he can do. And what you think apparently that he can do is sell for a guy much bigger than him. And oh brother, if that ain't the worst way to get Ricky Saints over. Like, he's a dynamic individual who wrestles really, really well in all facets. The idea that you want to make him into the kind of baby face that has to go, oh, my back, for 12 and a half minutes against a vastly inferior wrestler is just not a thing that I want to. That is not how Ricky Saints should be portrayed. Like, figure out a guy who's dynamic that he can have a little match with that could be a lot of fun. But this was just him being like, oh, ow, my back, for most of the match.
I don't know why they thought Ridge would be a good dance partner for him, because his in-ring strengths do not showcase Ricky Starks. Even if you are in on Ridge Holland, like, he's too big and plodding and slower of a guy than Ricky. Like, Ricky, I felt like was going at a quarter speed of what he normally does today to meet Ridge where he was at, so that they could put on a good enough match. I initially was like, that makes sense for like where Ridge is on the card. And I just thought they were going to give Ricky way more offense than this. Like, this was not a good first singles match for Ricky, because it just wasn't the right combination of guys. Like, I kind of actually, honestly, when Ethan Page showed up, like, him and Trick didn't have good in-ring chemistry. And and Trick is great. And Ethan's unreal. But, like, it didn't click in. Like, this almost read similar to me at that, like, it never felt comfortable. It never felt like the right move for either of them. I wanted to really like this. I wanted this to be like Ridge being a big dude looking badass, but Ricky Starks just being all the flash and the sizzle that he is, and it just wasn't produced to give us that. And it felt, because of that, it felt like 12 minutes felt way too long. It was the longest match on the show. Not my favorite way to start things off. I think him and Eddy Thorpe is going to be really fun if that's where we're going. Like, we're getting the tag match.
Yeah. Do you think he's teaming with Trick? Because it's not happening. So who's he teaming with? Who's Ricky teaming with? Like, the thing is, they cut short the Wesley thing too fast.
They did.
Wesley is the perfect dance partner for Ricky Starks.
Yeah.
That's the guy. Like, that's why I was really excited when he came out and he interrupted Ricky Saints, and I was like, okay, this is it. This is the perfect dude to, like, be a thorn in Ricky Saints' side since he, like, as soon as he gets here. This is the guy. This is it. Yes, they were part of a tag match that was all right, but, like, it didn't. You know, like, whenever they were wrestling each other, they're like, okay, this is it. We're going to do. And then it was like, move that off to the side. Now Wesley, I guess, is feuding with Hank and Tank. And we have Ricky Saint Starks doing the thing with Ridge Holland, of all people, which just doesn't feel great. But, like, yes, absolutely. Give me Eddy Thorpe versus Ricky Saints.
I hope that's where we're going.
That's something that we can get to eventually.
Yeah.
But we're not. We're the thing that we are doing eventually, because they do end up interviewing Ricky St. Starks about his first singles victory and how important that was for him. And then Izzy Dame is the mouthpiece of the Culling. And she's like, you're nothing. You're not blah blah blah. You won't ever amount to anything here. You don't belong here. You're an outsider. We don't like which like actually cult members are really good about like speaking to outsiders and being like, if you're being rejected by the people you want to reject you, we will accept you because we are the culting.
Yeah, when the Dark Order, before they were like silly, that was the whole kind of package with them, and it was really cool.
Yeah. Yeah. Then she says, you just don't measure up. And then Ricky says,
a shortstop.
Yeah. They're a shortstop. Is that what she called him? Literally that?
I think so.
But is he called Ricky a shortstop? Says just Ricardo. That's a baseball pun. But she did say that he doesn't measure up. And he says, oh, you'll find out Ricky Saints measures up in all the right places. And the crowd went nuts. Like it was Stefan Urquelle planting a kiss on Kelly Winslow, whatever friggin' names was. They were like, ooh.
Between 50s puns and that, we are not hip to pop culture.
No, like I'm sorry. Is there a big time like sitcom with the people going ooh that's on TV right now I should know about? Or
devastatingly, there is not. But I'm also just upset that I already went through my BlueChew read, because that would have been the perfect segue for it. But Ricky versus Sean Spears will be fun.
Yes, it will. I did like that Sean Spears walked up to him and it was like and left. I was like, that's good. That's the beginning. Ricky St. Starks moving past Ridge Holland and firmly into getting that title off of Sean Spears.
At Stand and Deliver, probably, right?
I don't know if they do it that early. You know how they like to blue balls us. You know what I mean?
That's
like
true.
Everybody wants it. So like you could just do it and then like, oh, but then the damned numbers game. Oh no, what shall Ricky St. Starks do without anyone to help him? He must go recruit people so they can be people who will get and stand in the way of the damned numbers game. And he'll win it at Battleground. The one that they're doing, that they decided to put the NXT PLE on the same night as a Double or Nothing.
Yeah.
That's where they'll do it. They'll have Ricky St. Starks win the North American title on Double or Nothing night. That's what they're going to do.
I guess it all depends how long Ricky's going to be at NXT. Like, we can make our predictions about it or whatever, but like...
A year. I think he'll be there for a year.
I would not do that when he.
I wouldn't do that either, but I think that's where he will be. Yeah. So out. This is
a good shout. We can't be surprised Ricky said that. He does call himself the Stroke Daddy. That's a very good point.
Although Braun Breaker will have something to say about that somewhere.
That is true.
Because he is with Izzy Dame, and he feels like the guy who would be not pleased by it.
Not
anyway,
okay.
So it's now been over a month since they debuted and started attacking people, and they walk out the door of the Performance Center, and one of the fake reporters is there and like, "Hey guys, what, you took out Tony D'Angelo? What gives?" And they just said, "Oh, now we can talk." Apparently, like it's been a month, so now we're allowed to like talk.
Say words.
And so we got Dion Lennox, who is the guy we recognize.
Yes,
he has been an on-screen character with a persona. He is the persona is I wear glasses and am the one member of the male roster that can read. That is his persona. We've seen it now for like 2 years. We know who this guy is. And so it'll be interesting if like they will allow us to talk about that, or if we're supposed to like forget that he was this character for a while, because the other three have no on-screen persona whatsoever.
Nothing, no established
So
characters.
so anyway, Dion Lennox gets to cut a promo. I've been like, we are a force to be reckoned with, or whatever. It's good. His promo is really well delivered. The substance of it is non-existent or whatever, but it's well delivered. Then these other two unfortunate fellas have to talk. The two rookies who, like, I don't like. I will be happy to eat my words in the future once we actually see them do anything. But generic white guy number 4 belongs nowhere near this faction. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't make sense. I don't understand why he has this connection with them, or like they all talk about how we have to make our names in NXT, but that doesn't work for us. We just think we should just show up and we should be handed everything, and that doesn't work for Dion Lennox to be part of your group. Like, if the three of you are rookies who've been training in the PC but haven't gotten on TV yet, and so you decide we're gonna just decide to like take over this place and you're going to be forced to put us on TV, is fine if the fourth member of your group isn't a guy who's been on TV for 2 years with a definable persona and a whole character arc. Like, that doesn't make any sense for him to be part of it as well. But then Osiris Griffin says a few words, not too many. And then one sleeve guy shows up. He steps forward and you immediately go, this is him.
Yeah.
This is the guy. Saquon Sugars, Lucky Ali, again, has not been identified by either of those monikers on television yet, so he will remain one sleeve guy until you tell me what his name is. And even after you tell me what his name is, I'm going to need him to explain the sleeve thing, because that's going to be a thing I'm going to be hung up on about him for his entire career. Until I get the explanation. I'm sorry, that's just who I am, because that is a thing. They're like, you know what little thing I was obsessed with when I was a kid watching Sesame Street? One of these things is not like the other. Anything that gets a point, like, that's different. I don't know what that is. That's different. Tell me more about that thing. That thing doesn't match up. This is a man who doesn't know how sleeves work. Why is that the case? I need to know. That's been my thing. For all, I gravitate to things that go, that doesn't make sense, and that's why we do the show. So I don't know why he doesn't wear a sleeve. Anyway, the promo by that guy he's got so much personality. Everything about him is like, oh, everything about this guy makes so much, like, makes me want to know more about him, and not just about the sleeve thing. Like, I want to know, like, who he is, where he comes from, why, how his whole thing is. Like, he's like one of them calls themselves the DarkState, which just feels like that's another far too spooky name for this group of fellas.
Oh God, no! They're the DarkState is the first opener on a 12-band.
Yeah, DarkState opens. DarkState opens for the opener at a Slipknot concert. That's who DarkState is.
Font, and they definitely put, when they reach out to promoters, that they opened for Killswitch Engage, but it was at a festival, and Killswitch Engage was on this huge other stage, and they're on this tiny, like, DarkState. I have friends that were in these bands. That's what the name DarkState is. Yeah. Like, not good. I can't help you with the sleeves thing. I have both my sleeves on. But what I can tell you is that guy is the talker of the group, and going to be a talker in that generation. Yeah. And I can't wait to see what happens next with that. They need to begging pro wrestling television in general, all of pro wrestling. If you have a takeover angle planned, just have some clarity about why it's happening. Like, I can't. I've watched this Death Rider shit go on too long. I've seen this too many times. Like, what worked with the Shield was they showed up and knew who they were right away. I get that this is developmental. That's not lost on me. But I need clarity around the relationship between these guys. I need to know why they're there. I need them to lock in on who they're targeting. I get that nobody is safe. But, like, you can't show up for a month and tell me that no security guard can get a hold of these guys when they're attacking people in plain sight. You can't tell me Ava's not concerned. And if there's no rhyme or reason to it, okay. But there needs to be some sort of through line with it, right? Like, you can attack people at random, but there has to be a collective motivation as to why you're doing it. That wasn't fully accomplished in this. I picked up on the same things you did about them just feeling like if they're violent enough, they shouldn't have to earn their way through wins and losses and whatever. Like, they should just be able to show up and do whatever they want. Because they're that chaotic. But I need to know why all of these guys have come together as a group immediately. Because right now, it feels like retro bootleg, as Robert D. Felice was calling them. Like, this is not good. This feels very, very aimless.
I've seen DarkState, DankState, DorkState. My favorite is Fart State. Like,
Fart State.
It doesn't. It's a dumb faction name. It's a dumb faction name, and it doesn't really describe these guys in any way. And I want to see them have purpose. Like, we couldn't get on TV through regular means, so we're going to attack people until we get on TV. Is fine.
Except for the one guy that we saw on TV for the past year.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and it wasn't like he couldn't get on TV for a while. Like, they were doing an angle with Eddy Thorpe being like, "Hey, Ava, I'm trying to talk to you and you keep blowing me off." And but that was never an angle for Dion Lennox. He kept getting matches and TV time.
Yeah.
He feels like he was that guy who got friend zoned and then just turned into a very dark corner of the internet. Like, you know what I mean? And that's
oh, I know what you mean.
That's that guy. You know, we don't want that guy doing anything. But Saquon Sugars / One Sleeve Guy says, "Oh, maybe we didn't actually get our point across." No, that's fine. It's fine. We're gonna go back in and actually do that, though. So they go back in and no one is safe. As they said, as they scrawled on a wall in Robert Stone's blood, no one is safe. They did that in February. Like, at some point, Ava's gonna have to, like, step up and deal with this.
You would think.
I guess. Anyway.
DarkState. DarkState is the pre-opener to a show co-headlined by Hoobastank and Trapped.
Yes. Yeah. Saquon
Lucky Ali
is the one who wears the hoodie half on, half off. If so, that's the thing dudes do. No reason, Alex.
Do dudes do that? I'm old.
I am old, also not hip to the hood. And so it's very possible that is a thing that happens in circles I do not frequent. But I feel like I would have seen it just in passing. For anyone else do it. I don't know.
You like missed a sleeve.
I don't know.
Tom Bailey said Lucky Ali. It's his lucky sleeve done. Well, there you go.
There you go. Yeah.
You're catching strays. Is also this. Love Kate's glasses, Alex. Not so much. Still love you.
Sorry.
Glasses superiority.
Oh, very good. Yeah. So the NXT Underground match is the main event.
Yes.
Kate, this is I am so used to still the old NXT, even though we haven't been on USA Network in months.
Sure.
It used to be we would get a match starting well after the 9:50 p.m. point of the show, but that was fine because we could have an 8-minute overrun. You know what I mean? And you would still get a 12 to 13 minute match out of the main event, even if it started past 9:50 Eastern.
Especially for a stipulation match.
Right. So I didn't think anything of it because I'm still so just clued into that. But then the match ended in less than 4 minutes. And I was like, that is a very fast NXT Underground match. And then I went back and looked, and I didn't realize it at the time, but the match started with 7.5 minutes left in a broadcast that had to be over in 7.5 minutes. That is just really terrible pacing of timing of your shit. Like that's, I understand. Like, here's the thing: an NXT Underground match should end every now and then super fast because it is a match by knockout and ref stoppage. And 4 minutes into the match, Trick hit his running knee thing, basically knocked out Eddy Thorpe, and then he was just raining down hammer fists until the ref called it. That is the way these matches in real life would happen more often than not. Somebody gets caught with something, that's it, you're done. But in the main event of this show, which is the end of the feud between Eddy Thorpe and Trick Williams, and Eddy Thorpe is undefeated in this particular stipulation, feels like a weird thing to do with this particular match in the NXT Underground style. But that is how it happened. In 3 minutes and 59 seconds is what I'm looking at here. And this was fast paced and, just stuff. It is a lumberjack match without ropes. That is what the NXT Underground match has become. Like, plus we hit harder and, you can lose by knockout or whatever. But really, it's a lumberjack match, which I know is your favorite type of match. And it wasn't great by any stretch of the imagination. Mostly because I was kind of just waiting for it to kick into a gear. It never did because the match was so short.
You hit the nail on the head where this is I don't hate that idea. I actually think that's kind of cool, but it's really unsatisfying for a TV blow off. That's not the coolest. Mm-hmm. I don't know how you marry that then, because usually stipulation matches are for blow offs of feuds. So you're not going to start with an underground match. Yeah. But I understand what you said, and I had the same thought of that's how fights happen sometimes in MMA. That's actually kind of a cool approach, but it was very unsatisfying to what was supposed to be a kind of a major blow off here. They have had continued issues with the pacing as soon as the lack of overrun got away, that it got better, and then it was not so great. Again, tonight, easily could have chopped 4 minutes off of Starks and Holland. You could have saved a minute or two elsewhere on certain backstages and things. There were ways to manage that better, but it is, if they can't for some whatever reason figure out how to book Trick as a babyface, I don't hate that idea of him being the leader of this group. And he's not worried about them. And his segment went on right after the promo, right? That's not a bad idea. I don't hate that. It gives them something to do. It also just ruins
if their plan is not to call up Trick Williams, then he needs to have something to do on NXT in the meantime. When Braun Breaker lost the NXT title to Carmelo Hayes, we thought, okay, via con Dios, Braun. But he hung around and did a whole bunch of stuff. He had a whole heel run where he was, hitting dudes in the skull with steps. And then he had a tag team title run with Baron Corbin. It's possible that they're just going to see what we have with Trick Williams separate from Carmelo Hayes as a heel. Here, work on your villain monologue. And maybe your villain monologue is this villain you're playing is the leader of the DarkState. Maybe I don't know how that's going to work out for him, but
I mean, he has so much charisma that him being the voice of a group is something that interests me. It just also, I'll just never understand, hey, this guy is white hot and perpetually over. I don't know what to do with him.
Right.
It's just a weird thing to me. I don't know. Have him talk a bunch of shit and win a bunch of matches. I don't
Yeah.
Feels like that's the way to go. But I that idea does intrigue me, and this angle desperately needs it, and it would give him something to do.
Yeah. Trick gets a mic and calls out Oba, who comes out, and he gets face to face with Trick, and then the lights go out, and a whole bunch of spots. Listen, there's a secret fifth member of this faction who works in the lighting booth, because I don't who's these guys are 4 rogue athletes. They're not, as far as we know, signed to perform on the brand. So why do they have their own lighting? You know what I mean? Like they come out and then the lights go, like the spotlights go everywhere like this, and it gets this weird strobe effect. And I don't. There's a guy who's in on it who works for on the lighting booth. That's all I'm gonna say. That doesn't make a lot of sense to me. But Javon runs in, and his thing is, we can't fight amongst each other. There are these 4 guys here who want to like take over the place and attack everybody. They attacked you, Oba. Come on, like we got to stop this. And Trick like knocks him down. Don't play with me. I don't want to. I'm going to talk to Oba. And then Javon gets back up, and Oba picks him up and slings him. I'm like, man, eventually we'll get it. But that was the thing that I said, I don't know, a year ago, when I was like, this is the dude. Javon Evans is the guy you build up for a year over the course of like 4 or 5 matches to finally be the dude who can beat Obafemi, because he has the first match against him and gets squashed. Second match, he does better, but still loses pretty handily. Third match, he comes really close, but still loses. Fourth match, he beats him. And do that over the course of a year. And you could actually watch Javon Evans figuring out different things he can do or whatever and all that stuff. But it would have given us the moments of Oba just grabbing him around the waist and just slinging him. Like, that was so much fun. I love that. And also then they have a pull-apart brawl, which you know from being on shows with me that I hate. And all of these Evolve athletes can't seem to keep these 2 guys apart, and they can't do anything. And then these other 4 dudes, the one sleeve guy and the bookworm and the 2 rookies, just stand up there not doing anything as their lights go around and around and around. And then Javon dives from out of nowhere with his jumpy cutter thing and hits it on Oba and basically knocks him out. And then he and Trick get face to face. So Javon versus Trick versus Oba is the match at Stand and Deliver? If so,
I don't hate that.
If so, awesome. That's great. I mean, this is the thing that, like, the one thing that I can say that that HBK does immeasurably better than Triple H does is he utilizes his black talent to their full extent.
Yes.
Triple H still having a serious problem with that. I see a lot of people talking like negatively about Trick in ring. I'm like, I don't think he's the greatest, but he's a damn sight better than Jey Uso. So like, it doesn't matter if he's super over. Like, you telling me Trick couldn't walk down an aisle and do this and get the people to do this with him? Of course he could. They'll push a button and make a guy a world champion, except for the fact that they don't have a great history of doing that with people who look like Trick Williams, unfortunately. That's the only thing that I see would maybe preclude him from getting the kind of mega push that they're giving to Jey Uso right now. I think he's got all those things that you might need.
I mean, Carmelo Hayes is losing and then having segments with The Miz. Like, I please.
Yeah.
Any push. The Street Profits finally won after like 4 years.
Yeah.
So yes, I agree with you, and I also think those are all like that's a lot of black talent that has diversity within it, right? Like of how their characters are built and approached, and in ring what their strengths are and their presentations entirely. So that's also really cool. That's something I look at too, is within representation, what are we getting within that, right? So certainly as a gal, I look at that with women's wrestling all the time. There was a long time on this program where it felt like all the heels were wearing black lipstick and being bad girls and nothing else. Now it's gotten a lot better. So certainly in agreement with you there. And that's also like the right showcase of people that are the future and the present. I feel like that's like a good way to go. I just always am like, okay, then what? A little bit, because the inevitable call-ups are inevitable, right? There's certainly, I think, a lot to be desired on some main roster shake-up stuff in the mid-card picture right now. I don't know why they won't put Andrade on TV consistently, but like the SmackDown side, especially going to 3 hours, they certainly could use some call-ups. So I just, as always, as has been the case for a long time with Triple H or Vince in charge, I hope that the handoffs and the next steps are done more deliberately than usual, because I feel like after Stand and Deliver, there are some people that are ready to go up. But we'll see. We are terrible historically at predicting that. We are so bad at predicting when people are going to get called up. And even when they do, they still, I mean, Roxanne was in Elimination Chamber and still here. So I don't know. I don't know what to expect. But
is it the point where I expect when somebody ran in and blindsided Jordan Grace, I expected to look up and have it be Roxanne, just because she's never gonna leave. Jambeard says that DarkState, Fart State is already in a bad spot because they are the wrong combination. Need to be 3 guys and a gal instead of 4 guys, because there's lots of people they could have 6-person mixed tags with if they add a gal.
That is
have a gal.
Correct.
Let's see here. Okay. This is some good. Here's some good ones. Oh wow, these are great. Okay.
Throwing it to the puns?
Yeah, we're going to puns. Will Chisholm, this is not a pun, but Jada is just trying to make Mickie James proud, LOL. Because Mickie James was telling her, like, you need to like step up and do your, so
can't blame her.
She listened. Alan Jeanette says the Butcher and the Milwaukee Braves, not the Butcher and the Blade, the Butcher and the Braves. That's a 1950s baseball pun.
I like that. I respect that.
Raphael saying, I'm surprised that TK never booked Ricky versus Sean Spears. Neither of those guys wrestled a whole lot for a certain lengths of time. So
there's a lot of things I'm surprised Tony Khan didn't do with Ricky Starks. But
Genetic Mayhem says the Jitter Busaiku knee, the Jitter Busaiku knee, and James Dean Malenko. That's the kind of 1950s pun I was looking for. Also, fantastic here from Genetic Mayhem, poodle skirt. Socko Hop and Soda Jack Perry. There you go.
Very nice.
Good stuff. Okay. So
let's do this one because it's a big one, though, too.
Yeah, it's a big one. Tim McFall says, "Hey, SGS, suffering a bit from the state of the world tonight. I did catch the first hour of NXT, and boy, did I miss Corey. Isn't that? Can you imagine saying that out loud even a month ago? My G." And then he says, "Also, trust a Canadian whose wine choices have recently decreased. Stephanie is the greatest Chilean export."
She's incredible. I'm excited to see what her double reign brings, though I suspect one side of that will be shorter than the other. But
yeah,
this always is a place where we try to put down what's out in the world and focus on wrestling and doing puns and impressions. So I need it as much as you guys do. So thank you for that kind of support, because there are times where it's extremely mutual. I'll put it that way.
Yeah. So, Jambeard says, "Oh wait, so DarkState are mathletes? Axiom is their leader. Confirmed." That's good. So we got one more. Oh, this is good. Chris Pereira says a streetcar named Diesel. Streetcar named Desire, streetcar named Diesel, and Chris Pereira also says some like it HOT, but nobody does.
Nobody likes House of Torture.
Nobody likes House of Torture, but people like it hot, but not House of Torture hot.
That is for sure.
And Jambeard says, 1 duty a night. Anything more than that and go see a doctor. Double duty has been banned now by Alex. If you're having duties too frequently, then perhaps go see a doctor. But duty.
We don't have a sponsor for that one.
No.
Yet.
Not for that. Not for that one. Not yet. Okay, I think that is all of the ones without jukeboxes in them. Here's a small lack of monies for contributing to my ADHD insomnia. Meat loves you, even the vegans. Quick, the Linda review of NXT. Toodles.
Sorry, I didn't realize there was an impression attached to that one.
So while I'm doing this, you go ahead and find all the lyrics to these things that we're gonna do.
Sure.
Okay, so here we go. The review of NXT. I don't know why. You can't figure out how to time things better, so you're not starting the main event with 7 minutes left in the show. Because it kind of gives away the game, Sean. It kind of gives away the ending. We kind of know for a fact how it's going to end. It's going to end quickly. We kind of figured that out. So, also, spoiler alert, I knew it was going to end very quickly with most of my paramours. That's the problem as well. So, after a while, you kind of figure it out. So
you are so bad.
Next week, we've got 2 guaranteed disqualification finishes. Don't you love that when you know a week ahead of time that the finish is going to be terrible, and then you still go out on a date with them and it happens anyway? Don't you love when a week ahead of time you know the finish is going to be terrible? So we know for a fact that Jordan Grace is going to attack Jada Parker next week during her match. And we know for a fact it's probably going to be Trick Williams, who decides to get involved in Lexis King versus Javon Evans because he doesn't like that Javon kid.
He does not like that Javon kid.
He doesn't like that. Bit. He's going to be bouncing all over the ring because, he's so bouncy. He's going to be bouncing all over the ring, trying to land his jumpy cutter on Lexis King with the terrible facial hair. Have you seen pictures of the Lexis King from the new video game? It looks nothing like him because the beard looks like a normal beard. That's how you can tell it's not really him. These graphics on these video games now have gotten so good, but the one person you can tell is the video game guy and not the real guy is the Lexis King because the beard is a normal beard.
It's true. Also, I feel like hair in general is where the video games still struggle.
They do. The hair just never looks quite right. It's all just we're waving everywhere in the breeze. There's no breeze because they're inside most of the time.
It's so true.
It's true.
So
also, good Carmen Petrovic, you can do better. You can do better. You kick him to the curb. He was never good for you. He wanted you to hit a lady with a chair in the middle of your match 3 minutes into it. He doesn't have any confidence in you, sweetheart. He is not for you. So he is for the road. Get rid of him. He doesn't need to be around.
He's for the road.
That's what he's for. He's not for here. I'll tell you that much. All right, well.
Actually, don't go far because there's a song request for you.
From me? From whom? What song?
That's what friends are for.
Okay. Fine.
I'm going to get the lyrics right now.
You get the lyrics, I'll click on them, and then we'll do it.
Okay. This is I Miss That Luis. I miss him so much.
Oh, we miss Luis.
He's such a nice boy.
Oh, we love Luis. 16 years old, and what a whiz he was.
They're in the document if you want.
Okay, we go. Let's see here. That was what friends are for. Here we go. All right. So I'll do the first verse, the first 4 lines. Then you do the next 4 lines, and then we'll try to do the chorus together. Won't that be
beautiful?
Fun?
That'll be beautiful.
And I never thought I'd feel this way. And as far as I'm concerned, I'm glad I got the chance to say that I do believe I love you.
And if I should ever go away, well, then close your eyes and try to feel the way we do today. And then if you can remember,
keep smiling, keep shining. knowing
you
you
can
can
always
always count on
on
me.
me.
For
sure.
sure. That's what
what
friends are for. In good times, in bad times, I'll be on your side forevermore. That's what friends are for. Perfect. No notes.
Nailed it.
The best. Okay. So, somebody wants. Hold on. I want to read this exactly the way it was. Jambeard says Darby to sing "Rattlin' Bog" by the Irish Descendants, but instead of it getting faster like it's usually sung, have Darby get slower each verse. This would be great if I, Alex, had ever heard of this song before in my life, so I would have a reference. But here we go. Ho ho, the Rattlin' Bog, the bog down in the valley, oh. Rare bog, the Rattlin' Bog, the bog down in the valley, oh. Well, in the bog there was a hole, a rare hole, a rattling hole in the bog, and the bog down in the valley, oh. Ho ho, the Rattlin' Bog, the bog down in the valley, oh. Rare bog, the Rattlin' Bog, the bog down in the valley, oh. Well, in the hole there was a tree, a rare tree, a rattling tree. Tree in the hole in the bog, and the bog down in the Malachi black. Ho, ho, the rattling bog, the bog down in the valley, oh. Rare bog, the rattling Brody King, the bog down in the valley, oh. Is that it? I don't really know, but
Crushed
thank you.
it.
Appreciate it. Okay, so here we go. Somebody wanted Fraxium to do another Slipknot duet. Psychosocial. I did my time and I won out, so effusive, fade, it doesn't cut. The soul is not so vibrant. The reckoning, the sickening, packaging subversion. Pseudo sacrosanct perversion. Go drill your deserts, go till your graves, and fill your mouth with all the money you'll save. Sinking in, getting smaller again. I'm done, it has begun. I'm not the only one, and Bob's your uncle. In the room will kill us all. Those oversouls against them all, but no one else can see the preservation of the murder in me. Psychosocial, 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 psychosocial. And Bob's your uncle. Thanks for that. Then Rafael Garcia says, for my offering, I offer Michael Sean Hicken, bottom of the ninth, as tribute. Does Braun know Dragula by Rob Zombie? Well, everybody knows everything as long as they can look up the lyrics. Dead I am, the one exterminating sun, slipping through the trees, strangling the breeze. Dead I am, the sky, watching angels cry, while they slowly turn, conquering the worm. Dig through the ditches and burn through the witches, slay 'em in the back of my Dragula. Break through the ditches and burn through the witches and slay 'em in the back of my Dragula.
That was beautiful. You do that for real.
We got one for the Nya girl, and then we got the last one. So,
well, I'll do mine then.
Okay.
And I'll skip ahead a little bit and just say kissy face. Sent it to your phone, but I'm trying to kiss your lips for real. Red hearts. That's what I'm on. Yeah. Come give me something I can feel. Don't you want me like I want you, baby? Don't you need me like I need you now? Sleep tomorrow, but tonight go crazy. All you gotta do is just meet me at the meet me at the. That song's about. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Hello.
Ricky!
This one is yes sir, I can boogie. by Baccarat.
Don't we
Or is
know
it-
that about you?
Is it Vaquera? I don't know how
I
to
think you
say
had it right the first time.
All right. Mister, your eyes are full of hesitation. Sure makes me wonder if you know what you're looking for. Baby, I want to keep my reputation. I'm a sensation. You try me once, you'll beg for more. Oh, yes, sir, I can boogie, but I need a certain song. I can boogie, boogie, woogie all night long. Yes, sir, I can boogie. If you stay, you can't go wrong. I can boogie, boogie, woogie all night long. No, sir, I don't feel very much like talking. No, neither walking. You know if I can dance. Yes, sir. I already told you in the verse and in the chorus, but I will give you one more chance. Take it, Dusty. Oh, yes, sir, I can boogie, but I need a certain song, baby. I can boogie, boogie, woogie all night long. Yes, sir, I can boogie. If you stay, you can't go wrong, baby. I can boogie, boogie, woogie all night long, if you will. Yes, sir, I can boogie. If you stay, you can't go wrong. I can boogie, boogie, woogie all night long, baby. Thanks for the shout out, Ricky. It's my pleasure. Right, well, I gotta go back to the great beyond. Bye.
Bye. Thank you for announcing your departure this time.
Goodbye, Dusty. I like him. a lot.
Legends.
He's a good friend.
Oh, yeah?
Anyway, keep cool, gabagoos.
Yeah.